I've known Victor for quite a while. I was actually just out of acting school. I did a play, and an actor that he had cast in a film that he was about to do came to my show and said, "Hey, I know they're still looking for one of the leads." So I went and auditioned and got the part, and we meshed creatively very well. And our instruments and our approach to the work. It just felt really great working. His sense of story and direction and how he worked with actors, particularly, was impressive to me. And it was also my first film, and it was like an experience of rebirth in a way, creatively. I had been in school and I'd done this play, and then doing this film was just a terrific experience. It was a great character. Unfortunately, the film never got finished, and it never saw the light of day. But it was a great experience. It was like, it was a baptism in filmmaking, and it was fantastic. One thing that becomes clear about working with Victor is he really likes actors. He loves actors. He loves what they do, and he has great respect for it. And he listens to your strengths from the get-go. I could tell from the audition for that particular film, for example, that he started to tune into what I was bringing to the part, and then just started feeding off of that. And what he'll end up doing is a lot of times he incorporates what you bring into the part if he likes what you bring. So it's an energizing experience because you feel like you're not just you're not a tool for a creative vision that is unmovable, but rather you're a collaborator, and that is the most exciting part for me about working. To feel like the great thing about film is it's such a collaborative art, and everyone brings their talent and their skill set to bear, and then you get combustion on the day. And that's when the magic happens. That's what makes me want to keep doing it, because it's that magic that just happens spontaneously. And that, for me, is what has set Victor apart from other directors in working with him. He is completely tuned in to that moment of combustion. And so you feel like you have a partner. He feels like a scene partner when you're working. And so it's very gratifying. And that's why we keep working together every chance we get, you know.
I wasn't as familiar with Victor. Actually, I have a home in Florida, and I'd been there, and I actually flew in and got the call. I mean, I wasn't on the ground for 30 minutes, and so I just went straight to it. And I played sports, football, for a long time, and so I was familiar with coaches and so on and so forth. And he was written sort of as a pretty stern guy, and so it was a fun guy to do it. And Victor said I was his coach, so I was the coach, man. I enjoyed being the coach. It was great. The kids gave me the coach's respect, and I liked it a lot. It was great. I liked working with Victor a lot. Victor gave me a lot of room. Actually, because we had so many young people, he had to spend more time there, and so that actually worked out well for me because I kind of like discovering and finding things, for myself when I can. And so it was he was there, but I got a good little bit of room to work, and so that turned out to be wonderful.
You get a good look at the points on this thing. It's either ivory or some kind of bone.
Throw that damn thing away before you need a tetanus shot.
Spade Foreman out on 226.
I wasn't aware of the first one, but the Jeepers Creepers 2, my agents called and said, listen, they're looking for a ballsy bus driver. So I said, well, I'm that. I can do that. And I went in and auditioned, and I think after it was Victor was there at the audition, and he said something to me like nice, like that was pretty good, something like that. And I thought, oh, Victor, you nut. And then like in the movies, you go home and you think, God, did I do all right? And then you get a call that they want to use you. So he was smart enough, I love you, Victor, to cast me. And he was kind. He's a soft-spoken guy. No, there's no yelling. You know, a lot of directors, they yell or they get animated or they get hideously abusive. He's none of that. He's kind, he's sweet, he knows what he loves, he knows what he's good at, and he speaks really like softly to his actors. There's no like line readings or any of that crap. He lets you do what you do, but he's got his, it's all planned out. It's all everything. You come to a set that's ready to go.
Some of the farm exteriors we shot near Valencia. For some of the road stuff in the middle of the night, we were out in Tejon Ranch, and that was great. That was a great location to shoot in. You know, as an actor, you try to use as much as is available to feed you, and that location was just ripe with. It was the middle of the night. You're out in the middle of nowhere, and there's this bus, and it was so conducive to getting into that mind space of where these people were, and particularly when Charlie gets abducted, when the head coach, and who to my character he was a beloved figure to my character in the background story that I created for him, and so when he gets abducted, that was so easy to conjure that fear and that absolute terror of this person disappearing and just seeing them fly up into the air in front of you, and the location helped a lot, tremendously. Yeah.
It was cold. We were up, I think Tejon Ranch, something like that. Most of the time we shot from sundown to sunup, a lot of days, and so it was cold, and then you had to try to sleep in the daytime, and with the sun coming through your window in the hotel room, and so you didn't get as much sleep. But when we were actually working, it was great. And I watched it all. I mean, the kids with the pigeons that came out and all that stuff. It was just a lot of fun. And Tom and Diane were great to work with, and we were the adults on the set. So Diane is a character. She plays a character, but she is a character. And man, she drove that bus. And she had a great sense about her. And Tom and I sort of bonded because, again, we were the adults on the set and so on and so forth. So we just had a really good time. And I've seen her in a couple of things since then. She's a wonderful actress and somebody I enjoyed working with a lot.
This side of the fence. This side of the fence. Scott, come on.
Everyone stays back and off the road! Now!
Stuck in the side of the tire again. Oh, God. Don't tell me that's a belly button in the middle of that thing.
I loved Bus Driver Betty because she was a no-shit kind of gal. She was just meat and potatoes, and she said what she thought, and we were all wondering what was in her toolbox under her seat, and there would be certain days that we would shoot, and God love the crew, they would put like sex toys in the box next to the flares. So one day there was a like a phallic kind of instrument. So I just picked it up while we were shooting and sang, "Fly me to the moon."
And we did shoot in this large hangar in Long Beach. That was really impressive how production created and duplicated Tejon Ranch. Is like you really couldn't tell the difference, except that you could get in a little cart and a golf cart and go from one side to the next. It was a lot more convenient, but it was fantastic. It was a great, it was another great experience, and the kind of fun part of filmmaking that you're creating theater, if you will, but what's really going on behind the scenes can be quite different than what's happening on screen. And yet at the same time, when both are cut together, the stuff that was shot at Tejon Ranch and the stuff at Long Beach was cut together. It's seamless. You can't tell the difference.
No, actually, the death scene was done out on the ranch, out on the street at night. And 2 or 3 really interesting things about the death scene was that the guy who did the death scene, who actually was my stunt double, I knew from Alabama. Grew up about 40 miles from me. And we'd actually worked on In the Heat of the Night together, Charlie. And so Charlie did the stunt, but man, Charlie, I'm glad it was Charlie that did it rather than me, because he was way up in the air, man. I'll tell you a great story about the death scene. When we had the premiere, we go to the premiere with there. My wife goes with me, who doesn't like any kind of blood anywhere or anything like that. And the film starts to roll, and of course, you know, lights go down. It's dead quiet in the theater. And we go about 25, 30 minutes into the film, and my character, Coach Hanna, gets snatched up by the creeper. He gets snatched up first. He's the first guy to go. He's the head coach. Get rid of the adults first, that kind of a thing. And so my guy gets snatched up in the air, and it's just this real silence, and then that flare falls down, and it hits the ground, and this guy shouts out in the theater, "The brothers always go first, man." And everybody cracked up. I've never forgotten that.
Well, first what they were going to do is, because I was a stunt woman for years at Universal, at the tour in Los Angeles, and I did the Wild West stunt show. So I would get blown out of buildings and use bullwhips and shotguns and pistols and rifles. And when I was learning the world of stunts back in the early 90s, I was 6. I was 6 years old. No, back they had a thing called the pullback, which was I get shot on the roof. They have like a harness around you, but your clothes are on the outside of it. And as soon as you're hit, somebody hits a thing and you're pulled straight back. Well, that's a little difficult. They had this, I think they used green screen. They were going to use a big, like a pullback, but on a crane that drops down, that once the smoke or the creature comes down, they would yank you up into the air. But they decided to do green screen on that, and I think they used a good friend of mine, Elle Alexander, because she doubled me, and she's much thinner than I am. So that scene was good when I was yanked up, because that was actually her. So a lot of green screen, a lot of rebuilding of the highway. We actually used, I think we were in Santa Clarita or up north in, I think it was like an old Highway 101 or something that was shut down where they shoot a lot of movies, and it's a big field, open field. A lot of it was shot there, and then a lot of it was shot inside like an airplane hangar in Long Beach, I think. A carbon copy of the field that everybody was running and screaming in. But no, the only stunt work I really did was stop and start and say things like shit and shut the hell up. It was my stunt mouth that did most of the work.
Jake.
What happened? What'd you see?
What'd you see?
Come on! Did you see something or not?
She flew away.
I had a harness, and there were three guys. There were three stuntmen, one to each side of the door, and then one on top of the roof. And so they basically pulled me up and sideways and in every direction. And the first couple of times, you know, getting the rhythm right. And by the way, this stunt team is fantastic, just, you know, top notch. You know, Monty Simmons and his guys are just an amazing crew. And but it was fun. I actually did, you know, get a little knocked around, not badly, but just enough to help with the feeling. It was great. I had a wonderful time doing that, and I actually kept wanting to do it again and again. You know, it was, yeah.
You got a problem with me?
No, you got one with me.
Do I what?
You heard me.
We don't have time for bullshit, Scotty. Go sit down.
First time I watched it was in the theater, and premiere is great. You know, they had the corn stalks and all the hay out there and all that stuff. And, you know, generally you do a film like that, you're never with everybody till generally the premiere. And so you get to see everybody, you get to talk to everybody, and then talking to the editors and the people who you never work with. And so that part's always good for me. I'm a storyteller. I do a lot of writing, and so, you know, you just see a lot of stories when you do those kinds of things. And seeing it that night was just a lot of fun. Hanging out with everybody was just great. And some of the young people, I think it was maybe their first time out. Watching them react. Some of them I followed their career since then, like Eric, I think Nettinger is his last name or something to that effect. Eric's done a lot of stuff. I see him all the time. And so you always want to see who goes where from there, and who this gave a big boost to. And I think it's given a boost to quite a few people. So
I was blown away. I thought it was great. And especially people that really dig horror movies, they were digging it, you know. So, other than The Wicker Man, that's the only two kind of horrific or horror films I've done. But I like them because I know what's coming. It's not like you're going there and you're like, oh my God. So,
well, it's been a special project for me for several reasons. One, like I said, I hadn't been too long out here. And so to get that role was really good and really big for me in my career. Also, I do a lot of speaking across the country. And whenever you go speak to young people, you know, as you get more seasoned, your hair gets more white and all that wonderful stuff, you're talking to younger people. And so there are two projects I've been involved in that the younger people just, oh man, they go crazy. One's Fight Club, you know, the young boys, they want to mix it up and so on and so forth. And then I tell the kids I was in Jeepers Creepers too, I'm somebody then. They love me then, you know, they want to talk to me, man. And so it's been one of those things, you know, you do a lot of different things, and some of them stay with you, and Jeepers has stayed with me. And it's just been, it was a wonderful experience, and it continues to be a wonderful experience.